Okay, YouTube, we're going to install the fully machined Sear into the MMP9 Pro. So go ahead and disassemble the gun. I'm not going to do the little thing, I'm just going to fire the trigger. Don't get rid of the slide, you won't need that for this part. What we actually are going to install or replace is this Sear. You'll see it when I pull the trigger, you'll see it, well maybe. You see how it goes up and down? That Sear is what we're going to replace. So, got my block here. Anything really that will raise this up, because what you're needing to remove is this pin right here, and it is a roll pin. If you have a roll pin punch, I don't have them, mine just a flat punch. And you do need to drive it out left to right from everything that I've been told. So drive it out. Okay, YouTube, I got the pin out. I had to end up using a little Allen wrench, but I got it out. So, fairly long roll pin. I was not anticipating that to happen. Well, now you can take your punch and you can lift this block out, and you just want to kind of get it back and forth. If it's new gun, it's going to be stiff. If it's an older gun, you've done this a few times, it might not be as bad, but you just kind of need to work it up until you can get it free. And it may take some doing, and some prying, and some lifting, and then you'll need to pull the trigger towards the end to get it to come up. And the reason is, right here you'll see that part comes back. That actually goes back into that goes back into the block whenever you're ready. So set that aside. This will fall right out. This is your ejector that just sits on top of there. Set it off to the side. And then what you're needing to get out is the Sear, and there's a little pin in here. And you just need to pop that pin out. And again, I need to get a real small punch. And I'm about to knock everything over, but just use a small punch, and that's the pin. You may see it start to come out. That's the pin you're trying to get out. And be careful and keep this block upright, because underneath that Sear is another spring and plunger that you don't want to lose. And well, if you didn't see that, here's the little pin, and that little plunger I didn't want to come out, did, and there's even a little tiny spring, if you can see right there, right underneath my finger. There's a spring, and this sits into that spring, and it can be difficult to get it back in, and I feel like I'm about to experience that. Okay, got it back in. So be careful of that, and just set your block upright. Okay, and here's the old Sear. Get the new one out. And as you remember from my first video with this gun, the Sear was or the trigger, when you got right down to the end, was really crunchy. There was like 3 really gritty, crunchy pieces that were not fun, and they did not make the trigger that appealing. So that's why we're putting this new one in. So you just drop it in like the old one was in there. The only thing that you're really adding to this is a more polished piece. The metallurgy on it is better, and it will make the trigger much smoother. Just gotta get everything lined up. We'll do it the old school way. We'll get the pin in there, or the punch first. There we go. We'll get the punch in it first, and then we'll just put the pin back in. Done. Pin's in. The new Sear is in. Alrighty. We'll drop it back in. Oh. Gotta put the ejector back on. And it just sits on top in there. But I'm having problems. Got a dog hair in there. There we go. That sits right down there. Sorry this is so painful, but the new Sear is right there. Then we'll just take this pin and drive it back in from the other side. We'll just even it up so it's the same on both sides. A little bit more. The pin's back in. Sear seems to be working. Put the gun back together. Gun's back together. Now, it's, if you can hear it, it's still got a little bit of grittiness, but it has reduced quite a bit. So what I'm hoping is when I put in the striker block kit, that'll take out the rest of it. Alright, sorry for all the hiccups, but I try to do these how-to videos without any editing to show you. I mean, they're not always the simplest, but anybody can do it, because believe me, if I can get it done, anybody can, especially with those little problems. Sorry if it doesn't look the best on camera, but they're small parts and I got big hands. But so far I got the gun, got the holster, and we're working on the trigger. And oh, by the way, I did get Talon grips, the skate tape ones. I can't remember if this was in the last video or not. I ordered these on a Saturday. They were here on Monday morning. Perfect installation instructions. These things are amazing. They really make your hands grip the gun. First gun I ever had Talon grips on. I've always seen people have them in their videos with the rubber or the grit. They talk about them. And I just never thought it was something I wanted to get into or put on my guns. But the M&P feels really good in your hands. But if you get your hand wet and try to put and try to hold on this gun like if it's hot and sweaty, I knew I was gonna have problems. But Talon tape, or Talon grip, sorry, worth the investment.